Hey, Kakabira here. So I've been teaching a lot at the Yoga Barn lately, and one concept that I was musing on as on my drive home was, how does someone receive your offering? And I can see parallels between being a teacher and what I'm offering to my students, both groups and privately, and also as a friend, in my personal relationships. So, in teaching, part of why students are coming to a group class and not just, practicing by themselves is, there's an opportunity that the teacher can offer new physical adjustments, a refinement of alignment, a way to deepen connection to oneself, and a way to deepen one's connection to their own subtle energetic system or spirituality, or how to get closer and know yourself. And the art that I've been honing over the decades is really knowing that we're all different, and so we all do need to be approached differently. We all have different kinds of boundaries, and we're all going to respond to different things. So my job is not only how do I create trust and safety, but what can I do that empowers you? What can I do that will actually light you up and make that connection? So sometimes it's like, okay, well, someone doesn't want to be touched, but then what's the kind of language that will actually work for them? And of course, I'm working with an international audience, so that adds an extra layer of, okay, do I wildly gesticulate, along with what words will make sense to someone? But words are important, and certain words will trigger one person and empower someone else. And it's like fun, actually. I love teaching this morning where I'm saying, because I had these really nuanced connections that I knew students were going to get off on, but it's like, how do I find those words so they can feel it in their body, right? And language aside, there's also kind of the energetic or telepathic language. And it's how do I teach energetic boundaries, so of course I'm paying attention to that. But there's also going to be vibes. One student will want me to be really nurturing, and that's how they'll receive what I'm giving. And someone else wants me to be really kind of playful or funny. And someone else actually needs me to be, I remember I had a guy in the military that he ignored everything, but the moment I got very fierce and stern, he just listened, so it's everyone needs a different attitude, to make that connection. And then also it's the obvious of do they actually want my feedback? Yes, they're paying money, they're coming to class, but there's that nuance of someone might just be give me my own space, give me my own time and space to figure it out. And there is an intelligence in that, because we do figure out quite a bit when we're left to our own device. It's you don't want to micromanage your student. So I could geek out a long time about this, but I think you're getting my drift. And, I've been hanging out with a lot of my friends lately and noticing as well, the friends that are giving me lots of unsolicited advice. It's really different if I'm I'd love your input or feedback. But again, it's being on the other side of well, did I actually want this? Does it resonate in how you're sharing? What is it doing for me? And we all do that. There can be a part of us that's we think we're being helpful, but actually by giving unsolicited advice, we actually are creating a bit of a barrier or a boundary. And then it becomes uncomfortable for the other person, because, there might be this discomfort that they feel inside, and they may be aware of it. They may not. They may be unconscious and just notice they feel uncomfortable, but aren't really linking the dots, but suddenly don't want to be so close. And it takes a lot of guts to actually say to someone, hey, I actually feel uncomfortable by this. Actually, I didn't ask for your opinion, or I don't want this, and when we don't say that, but it's still registered in the energy field between two people, then there's this thing that gets built up and it starts to fester. And we could call this passive aggression, where suddenly there's these energetic boundaries that start to grow and it never gets named. And it just creates a really uncomfortable buildup in the field. So there's really an art to whether we're talking teaching or just being a friend or a partner or a parent, can we care enough where it's not just that we might be wildly perceptive and actually have a great idea, but it's like, what is the art of communication? Using language, using tone, maybe using your body or gestures, your vibe. How can I actually communicate this to someone so they can actually receive it? So it actually does turn into a gift and not a bomb. And then the other side of, if someone bombs you, and like, it's a little bit easier to react when it's like an intentional bomb, like you feel you got permission. But when someone means well and they still like do a little stab or bomb or something, like, in order to create clarity in the energetic field between the two of you, but also to keep you in your power, because it just ends up being this like thing that gets stuck in your field, and it's hard for your system to be in present time. How can you start to give yourself the guts to actually admit when something is uncomfortable? And of course, this would be a much longer video, but we're not doing it. How do you actually find that art of communication where you still acknowledge that that person actually was well-meaning, but man, did it not land well. Anyway, these are my little Friday love notes to you. And I'm wishing you quite a beautiful weekend. Bye.